give you guys a makeup routine that no one ever asked for, but I've always wanted to do one of these, so we're gonna give it a go. For the base, I use these two. It's a Say Slip Tint. This one is 정샘물, and I just mix these two up. The Slip Tint, this one, has no coverage, okay? So if you're looking for coverage, don't get that. But if you're looking for something that has SPF, is very lightweight, and gives you a very nice glow, and you don't really need that much coverage, get that one. But one thing I will say is every time I wear this, I always get asked like, what is on your face? Like, how is your face so glowy? And I always say to Say Slip Tint. And I always get compliments on my skin when I wear this one, but when I wear something else, people don't really say anything. So I've been using this for a very long time and I'm a very loyal user. But if I want a little bit more coverage, then I go in with this. I try not to use foundation because I just like a very thin application for my base, especially because I have dry skin. And when you have dry skin, it's a little bit harder to do your base because the formula will attach to those dry parts and make your skin look even worse than it actually is. So using a very lightweight, moisturizing, hydrating base will help with that problem. So focusing more towards on the outer parts of my face and places that I'm not going to put the concealer on. This Hourglass concealer, I'm using the shade Cotton, which is number 2, and then I put it on the back of my hand. You'll see why. And then the rest on the applicator, I put it where I want to put concealer, just here, here. Yeah. Okay, with the concealer on the back of your hand, you're gonna warm it up with your ring finger, your most delicate finger. And this will help ensure a very seamless coverage. Skin under your under eyes is a lot more delicate and thinner than the rest of your face. So using a very thin layer is crucial to making sure you don't get those cracks on your under eyes. And then I leave it on to let it set, and that will help the concealer stay for as long as possible. And while that's setting, I'm just gonna blend out the rest of my face where the concealer is sitting. A little bit here. If you have pimples and you're trying to cover them up, if you see here, you can't really tell, I think, but right there, I put concealer on a pimple. When you put concealer on a pimple, you wanna put a very light, thin dot on it and then don't touch it. Leave it for as long as possible, so again the concealer can have some time to set and slightly harden, so the formula can be a bit thicker and not as blendable as the rest of your face. To achieve a good base, you have to make sure your skin is prepped really well with skincare, toners, whatever you have, and just make sure your skin's in good condition and your base will be in tip-top shape. Okay, next I'm gonna blend out my under eyes again with the sponge. The sponge is great. Specifically, it's by Up and Up, if anyone was curious. We're going to contour. Contouring with this Fenty Beauty contour stick in the shade 01 Amber, and I contour my nose just like how everyone else contours it. Just 2 lines, like an 11 and a little bit on the bottom, and then I try to enhance my cheekbones here, and if I feel like it, I'll just do like 2 dots here for the jawline. I'm taking this brush, it's like a very, see how crooked this is? This brush, I've had it since high school. It's from Morphe, and it still works pretty well, and I really like it. But I'm blending out the contour here first. Just making a jawline, and then we're going up for this part, okay? Listen up. Don't blend down, blend up. So you see how I have a little shadow here? I don't follow the shadow. I just let that shadow stay where it's at, but then the actual contour color, I blend up into the hairline and a little above where the shadow is. So it's a bit more natural and less harsh of like one line down the cheekbone. You can also go in with the sponge again and just kind of blend out any harsh lines that you might have missed, especially on the jawline. For the nose contour, I use a separate brush, this little blending brush, and then I take the contour stick and I kind of load the brush up with a little bit more formula, and then I go in and I blend it out because I didn't put much on the nose before, so I could just put a little bit more formula on the brush itself and then blend / carve out the shape. When you contour, you always also want to highlight just a little bit. I'm going to take this Kosas concealer. I prefer this one over the Hourglass concealer because of the applicator, simply because of this shape. It's the perfect shape to draw a line down the nose. Again, with the concealer, we're gonna let that sit, and we're gonna move on to the brows. Wake Make Hard Brow Pencil. This is my third one. For brows, I just follow my natural brow shape, and I'm not the best at shaping brows, so don't follow my advice on brows. But I do have one good tip with brows that I will show you shortly after we fill them in. I filled my brows in, and before we do our little brow trick, I'm gonna blend out the concealer on my nose. We're gonna hit the face with some powder. First, Laura Mercier. This one is the translucent Ultra Blur powder, the pink cap. This one we're gonna use for the brows because we're gonna bake the brows. I don't bake my under eyes. Maybe I should, but I don't. Why I do this is, number one, helps the brows stay in shape and maintain its color for a really long time. And two, I like it when the color is more muted, just because I think my face is it's not that of a high contrast face. I have very I don't know. It just doesn't look good with dark brows, so I go in with some powder so I can mute the color a bit. My friends and I rave about this powder because it's so good. It's the About Tone powder. Looks like that. The formula is so fine, and it works. It works, plus it's so fine, and it doesn't give any flashback. I'm just gonna load the sponge up, and then I kind of fold it a bit with my finger and gently go over the under eye with this. While the brows are setting, we're gonna now move on to our eyes. For eyes, I use two palettes. First, hit this muted rose color, and I just focus that all over the lid. Then we're gonna take another brush, going in with this purple shade and focusing it on the outer parts of the lid. Then we're gonna move on to our second palette. And I know it's very crusty, it hit the pan, but that's because I love it so much. We're gonna take this brown here, beige brown, another eyeshadow pencil, and the eyeshadow brush, focusing the shadow closer to the lash line. And I like to sometimes bring it up here, just so it blends in more with the colors. It's gonna be hard to see, but if you look at it, If you look at me, because this lid is shorter, or like the space, it's a bit darker, like this line in between the creases. But this one, it's thicker, so it's not as deep of a color or shadow. So sometimes if you have this problem, I recommend going in with a darker shadow or another layer of eyeshadow just to even out the different shadow and shades because of the uneven in the creases. But I don't know if anyone else has this problem, but I do. So I'm just gonna go in with a darker shade and kind of try to make this even as possible. I'm back with this one. The hot pink one, you see? A little tiny brush. These Korean palettes, by the way, like it looks crazy hot pink, right? But they're very muted colors and they're not as pigmented as American palettes like Charlotte Tilbury or Tarte. So you could really go crazy. Taking the darkest shade in this one, it's like this chocolate brown. Tap off the excess as much as you can and then make your eyeliner shape. Eyeshadow is done. We're gonna top it off with some Moon Dust by Urban Decay. This is just gonna add some glitter and light to the center of the lid. Now for my least favorite part. For eyeliner, I use these two pencils. This one is a very light brown. You can't really see it as much as the Clio, but I use this to map out the liner and to fix any missing spots. So this one is by Etude and it's in the color O2 Natural Light Brown, and this one is the Clio Kill Brown Super Proof Pen Liner. Map out the liner with the light brown first. Can you tell? I don't know if you can see it. Very baby wing. We're not going for anything crazy today. I'm gonna take the darker, more pigmented liner and then draw the cat eye. Especially for eye makeup, this is my #1 tip. I feel like I say everything's my #1 tip, but this one, truly, if you're bad at eyeliner and you mess up a lot, get these pointed Q-tips. My friend Anna, that's also really into makeup and good at it, she uses the same brand. It's on Amazon. Clean Skin Club. Use it to clean up the edges and make your liner a bit more sharp. Next, my favorite part, I use 3 blush items for this. I know it's like very extra of me, but you'll see why. First, I'm going with this really pale, hit the pan obviously, Romand Better Than Cheek color. This is a very, very light pink shade. I'm just gonna focus this on the center of my face. I also like to go over my nose a bit. Then we're taking Hourglass Ambient Lighting Blush. I'm not gonna pronounce that last part, but this one. It's a more pigmented color. I'm taking a smaller blush brush, focusing this on the top part of my cheek towards the under eyes. So like right here. A little bit on the chin, just to balance the pinkness out. Mix these two, champagne and pink. Did this in like one of my first videos, but it didn't receive enough hype. Not me, about this. Ready? Wait, JK, one second. Boom. Oh my gosh. So good. This palette is a bit on the pricier side, but it lasts so long and it's really effective. Then I'm just gonna take my ring finger, go towards the white one, and then highlight the nose. We're almost there. We're taking a big fluffy powder brush and we're going to dust off the powder from our brows. And when you do bake your brows, just an FYI, because we're using a loose powder, the powder particles could still be stuck in between those lash hairs. So take a spoolie or the end of your eyebrow pencil and lightly dust off the leftover powder. We're not done yet, but we're gonna set our face with this All Day Tight Makeup Fix Spray. It's a very fine mist, which is what I prefer, and it smells like baby powder, and I love the smell of baby powder. I do this before mascara, so the mascara doesn't run and I look like a raccoon. This is a Shu Emura, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, curler. Just do the root and then one in the middle. And that's what gives me the most lift in my lashes. For the lashes, I use two things. One's a primer that's gonna help the lash stay curled and prevent the mascara from running. And this one is the Kill Lash by Clio, and it's really good. I used to use the Heroin brand a lot, but ever since I started using this Clio one, I've never went back. This solution or this formula dries really fast, so you want to work a bit on the faster side. Then I'm gonna take this Romand Macadamia lip. If the pigment is a bit too much, I just take a napkin and go like that. And it makes the lip a bit more matte, which is what I prefer. And that is the final makeup look. Really flawless base. That's the look I like to go for. Thanks for watching my little makeup tutorial. Hope that there were some tips and tricks that were helpful. But I'll see you in the next one. Bye! So good. Thank you.